Anyway, back on the 78 Super Beetle convertible. Needs an oil change real bad. We got it running. It runs good. It runs shockingly good, actually. But the oil is not that good. Want to keep running it. Try to do some things. I'm going to put this in this tripod. Want to keep running it and be able to, kind of do projects while it's running, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to disable this thing completely and have it, basically be a yard art until I finish some major restoration. So I'm trying to do things as I go. So last video, I fixed the oil pressure sender. We verified it's charging. We need to fix the belt, but there's a whole series on the engine that I want to do. But oil, I don't like running it with the oil like it is. It's right at the line. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the oil per se. I just don't know. I don't know what it is in terms of the oil itself. And if you could smell it, the amount of fuel in this oil is epic. It has got so much fuel in it. That kind of hurts the viscosity. It hurts a lot of properties about the oil when it's that much fuel in it. So I want to change it. So I figured I may as well film changing it. Like, I don't know how many people have done this before. I'm sure there's a million videos on how to change your oil in one of these things, but no reason why I can't be one of the cool kids that does one. So we're going to do it. I'm going to use a pretty standard fare oil for this. I wish I could tell you it's some magical special oil that Volkswagen recommends. We're going to be putting in the Rochelle Rotella 1540. Again, why? It's maybe this is the perfect oil. No, this is the oil that I got it for $17 for a gallon of it. And that's a pretty good price. It's a synthetic blend. I don't like running full synthetic in these. I feel like it makes the rear main seals leak. Maybe I'm just old and that's my bias, but the detergents in the synthetic oil seem to be so good that you end up kind of cleaning out some of the things that keep the oil in. The synthetic blends tend to do better, and I do like the cleaning properties the synthetic blends have. So I'll probably end up changing this maybe a little more frequently just because it gets dirty faster. But it's semi-synthetic, so it's a synthetic blend. So you got a lot of good longevity properties. So we're going to put this in. Those of you that know there is no oil filter in the old Volkswagen air-cooled 1600cc engine. The Type 4 bus has a filter, not the 1600 series, or the 15, or the 13, or any of the earlier stuff. We'll go underneath and we'll check it out. Oil goes in here, but before we get to where the oil goes in, let's take a look at the business end, and that's going to require me to get down on the ground here and find out where the oil comes out, which is Volkswagen has this sump here, which kind of, as you can see, we've got lots of oil. A lot of reasons for the oil being down here. There's a lot of things that leak on these, most of them not critical. The biggest thing that leaks, there's two big things. First and foremost, this sump plate here, it leaks a lot. There's little copper washer O-ring jobs on each of these, and I'm going to get in close, and you can tell me which one of those kids is not like the other. You can pretty much see if I can bend this a little bit. It's that guy. This one right here is leaking, so probably either someone didn't replace the copper gasket with it, or it's just loose. I've seen them loose sometimes. These gaskets here go behind this and seal this up. There's actually a metal screen back there, and we're going to pull it out. And then you seal the top and bottom of the screen with this, and then you seal those up. Typically for an oil change, you just drop this center plug, drain it out. We're going to pull the screen to see if there's any metal in it. Other famous area for leaks on these things is the push rod tubes. You can kind of see them up there. It's those guys. They are notorious for leaking. I rebuilt that bus engine, and the push rod tubes still drip. I think it's just what Volkswagens do. I've learned to live with it. A Volkswagen that doesn't leave a couple drips in the driveway is probably empty. I kind of believe that. So that's what we got. What I'm going to do now is we're going to drop the oil that's in there out just so that we can get the drain going. I feel like it works a little better when you do this if you pull the fill off. So you got lots of air pressure up on top. And then we're going to come back down below. I don't know if I can put a tripod down here. That sure would be convenient, but for now, I don't think that looks like, what do you think, a 17? Oh no, that's a pretty big bolt. Let's see. That's a 19. 20. Closer. There we go. It is in fact a 21. Well, you guys can see that on there. 21. So we're going to pull that off. That's going to start the flow of oil. It is, again, I don't think this oil is particularly bad. It's just also not that good. It smells like there's too much gas. There's too much fuel in it. So we are going to remove it and start over. Oh wow, that was not tight. Not tight at all. Let's see if we can make the magic of the drip pan happen here. I don't know if I'm zoomed out enough here, but let's see how much of this we can get all over ourselves. All right. There it goes. It's on my hands like it should be when doing an oil change. So we're going to let that run. We're going to try to capture all of it. And then I'm going to pull out this sump and show you guys the screen, and we'll take a look and see if there's anything nasty lurking in the screen waiting for us in terms of metal shavings. And then we'll put it all back together nice and tight. Be right back when she's done draining. All right, we're back. It is still draining a bit. It's mostly done. So what I like to do with these, like these things always leak, and people are always, you know, like, oh, Volkswagens, they always leak oil. Most of the time, these stupid sump bolts are just loose. I don't know if they vibrate loose, if people are afraid to over tighten them, but I always check. That one's good. 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 And interestingly enough, I just got oil in my hand. These are not the ones that are leaking. Let's get that oil off. Let's just check our friend there that's the leaky one. Yeah, see? Finger tight. Not even finger tight. So, I mean, you know, I'm a fan. I like these cars. I know what they're good at. I know what they're not. They don't need to leak oil. They leak oil because people do silly things. And in this case, whether that was silly or not, that's just not tight. So let's go ahead and pull off all of those so we can drop the sump out and see what we're working with. Yeah, see, that one's nice and tight. This one here. That one was tight. These are only supposed to be at, I don't even know, like 9 foot-pounds or something like that. They're not supposed to be crazy. But they do need some kind of tension to actually do their jobs. That one's tight-ish. This one here, middle of the road, and then we know that one is finger tight. Now you see how that came out as a stud? Not supposed to come out as a stud. It's supposed to come out as a cap nut. It does happen a lot. Unless the Super Beetle here is somehow different than every other Beetle I've worked on. That ain't how it's supposed to go. Last but not least, the one that was never tight in the first place. Huh. Oh, look at that. Well, you guys can see that. The one that wasn't tight, the stud didn't come out. Huh. Interesting. All right. The weirdness of Volkswagens. Oh, I'm like, why is that hanging up there? I missed one. Because it looks like it wants to just fall off. And there we go. All right, sump is down. And the sump always bears, it's going to drain for a minute. Sump always bears some looking at. So let's do some looking at it as it runs all over my floor. Ugh. Okay. So, let's let it drain into here. Let's pull this off of there so we don't lose it. And then let's suck up this fuel-impregnated oil with our friend the Brawny. Alright, so the thing about these guys is that they are sort of the repository for all things when it comes to... This is at the very bottom of the oil pan. So when you got a motor that's kind of on its way out, you're going to see, and I haven't touched it yet on purpose, There'll be a lot of thick material here. Fine, hopefully fine if it's normal wear. Chunks if it's not. But if I just put my finger in, yeah, look at that caramel. All right, so we have caramel. Now, I've seen a lot of different flavors of this kind of thickness before. I don't know if you guys can get a good look at that depth. Look how deep that is. That's actually pretty standard fare for motors with these that have not had their sump cleaned or changed in a while. There's a lot of stuff. Remember, there's no oil filter in this. It's just the screen, which I'll show you guys when it gets done leaking. This is all there is. So every little bit of sediment, every little bit of contaminated oil that gets heavy, all the wear from bearings and gears, it all comes down here. So don't freak out if you see that. I've taken these things apart and seen a mountain of stuff on these, including fragments of metal that look important, and the motors have run great for as long as I've owned the car for. This does not mean the thing is messed up. It just means that no one's been in here to clean this pudding out in a long time. Now, in a perfect world, like if I had just changed the oil or had known it was just changed and that much stuff had come back, I might be concerned. If this was not, I mean, this feels like Jell-O. There's nothing, I don't know if you guys can see just how, it's very smooth. There's nothing rough in this entire pile of fun here. That is literally just old oil, normal wear and tear. So I guess what I'm saying is don't freak out. Got to clean it up. Got to clean it off. We don't want it going back in. So we are going to have to go handle that. And what I'm going to do is, let's pull the screen out. Maybe it's done percolating at this point. Looks fairly done. Nothing really holds this on except for when you have the studs stuck like we do over there. There we go. All right, now here's the other important piece of the puzzle to the Volkswagen engine. What's in the screen? The screen is your heavy filter. This is your, I know I'm getting my fingers in it, but I got oil all over me here and I'm trying to show you guys. This is what's going to pick up all your heavy stuff. Like if things are really going wrong, you're getting big chunks of bearing, you've got stuff floating around in there, you're going to see it on here. This screen looks absolutely perfect. We still have the pudding around the edge, which we'd expect, because that's the pudding that lays in the bottom of the motor and then makes its way down through these to the sump. But this all looks great. No complaints. No complaints at all. For a motor that's of unknown condition, I'm liking it. And looking up in there, you can see the sump bell. What's the oil pickup? I think you can see it. Yeah, there you go. There you can see it. That's really what you're seeing there is the oil filter or the oil sump pickup. A lot of times I'll stick a screwdriver or something up there and just make sure there's nothing rolling around in the pan. I'll probably do that before I put it back together, but in this case I'm going to let it drip for a bit. I want to get all of this crap out because I don't know how old it is, and I'm going to go clean this up. I think it might be interesting to see it cleaned up so you guys can see what a clean sump looks like. So let me go get it set up on a tripod, and I will be right back. Alrighty, let's clean this thing up. I know I just talked a little bit about how the grossness on these things doesn't really equate to as much when it's fairly thin, smooth. I'm not sure how you would want to describe that pudding texture. But we are going to remove it, and it is pretty satisfying making it go away. Yeah, that's sludge, guys. I don't even think there's bearing material in this one. I mean, I've seen them where they're kind of silvery or sheeny. This doesn't even have any of that. That is literally just sludge. You can see maybe with the light, I'm not sure, there's a bit of a color change on the stuff that we've gotten off. It's a little bit lighter underneath. Part of that is water contamination, generally speaking. Part of that is a little bit of bearing material and other things that are a little bit lighter colored in the motor. But again, nothing sharp, nothing large, nothing scary in this. This just hasn't been done for whatever reason, despite what looks like fairly decent maintenance on this thing for the most part. Oop, there's a piece of something. What do we got there? Got a little bit. Yeah, there's a piece of something. So that, well, if you guys can see it, that's round. That looks like a piece of washer. So somewhere at some point, some piece of washer has gotten down in there and broken off. Let's see if we find any more of it. Yeah, there's a little more of it. It's a little bit like archaeology here, trying to figure this out. Yep, that's another piece of it. So it looks like a washer of some kind has left the chat somewhere. And the motor's not exactly full of areas underneath here that would hold like a legit washer like that. So that tells me it could be something that fell in, either from the top. I don't know if it came from inside. Could go either way, I guess. But I'm not really seeing anything aside from that washer, or that, whatever that is. It looks like a washer. I don't see any other grit or pieces of stuff that would concern me. And there is gasketry. Something else I'm noticing as I'm looking at this on both sides, I don't see the paper gaskets. That would definitely make it leak when it has none of the gaskets that stop it from leaking installed. So when we return this to service, we will be installing said gaskets. So there's that guy, nice and cleaned up. What is this? Look at this. Hey, look, I found the other part of that washer. There's the other half. It's not even metal, guys. It's plastic. So whatever that is, whatever got caught in here or chewed up, it's plastic, which is furthermore not part of the bottom end of the motor. Likely fell in the top during an oil change. Don't know what they were doing that caused that, what plastic piece, but that's a really big oil fill. I'm sure you guys saw how big that hole is that oil goes in. There's a lot of opportunity for crap to fall in there. And this is not a new car. So there's lots of time opportunities and oil change opportunities for things to fall in. You probably won't have to listen to me yap for this whole thing. This is going to end up getting fast forwarded and have maybe some nice freeware music put over it. But I don't know. I feel like my commentary's gold. Anyway, so that's pretty much cleaned up. This all can get thrown back together. There's nothing. I couldn't be happier with how clean this all looks. Interesting to me, there's no gaskets and that it wasn't leaking, but that's where we're at. So I'm going to let that drain out overnight. I really want every little bit of oil in there to come out. I don't want to have any of the old stuff left behind. So we are going to let that drain overnight, and when I come back, we will slam this back together and put some fresh oil in it. All right, it's the next day. We let the oil drain out overnight. Wanted to make sure I got all of it. And then I have to just put this sump together, which is basically, it's these two gaskets. It really, this one still has a gasket on. I don't know if you guys can see. There is still gasket on here. I thought there was no gaskets in play, but I'm just noticing now we have some gasket here, and it's sticking and leaving some pieces. So I'm going to pause the video, clean that up, and then we'll get this back in. All right, nice and easy. I'm just going to zing these guys up here. Okay, all buttoned up. Copper crush washers around the edge, 2 gaskets sandwiching the screen. All the fun and excitement of a Volkswagen oil change. All right. So, next up, we're just going to put some oil in this thing. Nothing exciting really there, but, I guess for continuity's sake, we'll show it. Why not? Dump some oil. I believe these things take, I don't even know. I want to say 3 quarts. As you can tell, I don't exactly remember. So, we'll start by putting a few quarts in. I mean, why not? We have it, right? Okay, that definitively should be enough now. Based on the dipstick. We'll let that run past the dipstick since it appears that it runs right down kind of where this thing reads against. Like it's coming in here, but the stick is right here. And I think I'm getting some splash up on that. Alright, yeah. I'm going to call that good for now. Nice and clean, nice and clear. So, I think what we're going to want to do now is actually run this and let's get it kind of warm and see what we get. You know, we've done a will it run, and yes, it runs. How good it runs, I guess, remains to be seen. Let's move the oil pan under it, just in case bad things happen. Let's let it get warm. We'll see what happens, see how it runs, and we'll go from there. Let's see if she just wants to fire up. Oh, I left the battery hooked up. That's probably not a good sign for us, because I do believe there was a draw on this, but we'll see. This switch is garbage. Nope. All right, oil pressure light is out. Charge light will stay on until we rev it up a bit. Remembering that belt is loose. All right, yeah, just the EGR light now. So now we let it run. I mean, first impressions are, it ain't great, but it certainly sounds quiet. Exhaust is good. Yeah, that all sounds good. Okay, so it's hot. Give it about 15 minutes to warm up. Couple things. It is smooth. It's smoothed out. But it's also, the idle's way too high. The idle shouldn't be that high. There's an adjustment on the throttle body we can play with to lower that. Usually it's high because it doesn't run good when it's low. People kind of turn the idle up to hide issues. You could run it like this, but if you can hear it, it's probably running at like 1100 RPM maybe. It's way too fast. It also is very rich. Look at the exhaust. I don't know, that's not showing up good on camera. It smells a little bit like raw fuel, and I'm getting a puff of black when I rev it up. It's rich. So all of these things together, high idle, rich mixture. Somebody has probably been in here accounting for, I can turn it off actually. Somebody's been in here accounting for some poor running conditions with fuel and air. You know, if you have a lean condition, the way you can overcome the lean condition is to dump a bunch of extra fuel in to give it more fuel. Unfortunately, when you have a lean condition that's caused by a vacuum leak and then you feed it more fuel, you can solve the lean condition, but your idle is now way higher and you're potentially overfueling because it isn't controlled by a computer or anything good. It's just you probably messed with something. And I think I told you guys, it looked like somebody had been in this airbox before. That's where you do it. That would be where we would mess with that. There's a couple of adjustments that on this that are like legit, like right up under here. There's an air bleed that you can use for air that's going to bypass the flapper. And then there's usually on the throttle, yeah, it's right here on the throttle body. There's a big flat-headed screw right in there. I don't know if you guys can see it. That's the idle air bypass for the throttle body. Those are the two ways that when the fuel injection system's buttoned up right, you would adjust the idle. We're not going to play with any of that stuff until we go through and fix things like this vacuum line, which is zipper tied on and split. Do a video on pulling all this off, identifying the components for the fuel injection. I really do think the fuel injection education is worth the time. People just won't click it if they don't want to watch it. But I do think being able to troubleshoot and work on one of these is definitely a good skill. These fuel injection systems are pretty good. So we'll take it all apart. We'll go through the pieces, and then as we rebuild it, we'll replace things like that vacuum line and this one here, which goes all the way up to there. Doing kind of where the EGR goes. Oh, that's a vacuum line for it. So yeah, so like we're going to replace all the vacuum lines, clean things up, put things back together, and then see where our idle's at, and then we can start to play with adjusting it. So that's it for the oil change and a little bit of wiring work. Next up, we'll pull this motor apart and clean things up and see where we stand. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys back for the next video. And leave me some comments. Let me know what you think of the Beetle project, how it's going, what you want to see. And thanks. Appreciate it.